Hey everyone, in this video I'm gonna show you how to draw this dragon portrait with a ballpoint pen. Drawing without erasing mistakes is great practice because it will keep you in your creative flow, so I dedicated one sketchbook to pen only. I fill it with dragon sketches that I meant to teach myself to get better at drawing them, and it is in this very same sketchbook that we make today's drawing. I start by drawing the rough shape of the head. For this dragon I keep in mind the head shape of a velociraptor to have some guidance for the anatomy. And from there I keep adding more and more dragon features. Working with ink alone may feel intimidating, but a ballpoint pen is not as unforgiving as you might think. I use barely any pressure and I keep my lines very light and loose so I can draw over them later on. With these pens you can work in multiple layers, so as long as we work without too much pressure we can keep going back into areas that we have already done to make adjustments or emphasize some lines. I give the neck a bit of an S shape and I let the horns sprout from behind the eye ridge. I still work very light so we can adjust the lines later on. I mark the location of the eye and I also add in the nostril. I usually do that quite early in the drawing because knowing where the eyes are gives some soul to it and helps me when adding the other features, because I can see if it will fit together with this dragon's attitude. For example, large eyes will make your creature look cute, while small and narrow eyes will make them more scary looking. Here and there I start emphasizing the lines I'm pleased with, which will give the drawing more shape, and I add in more of the features like the folds of the throat. When drawing a dragon's throat, it is important to keep in mind that they have to swallow large prey, so if you want to cover the throat with scales, you need to think about how they would expand. For that you can look at pictures of crocodiles or how a snake's throat would expand when it's swallowing its food. Time to add in some smaller details like the dragon's teeth. With this head shape, the teeth on the other side of the jaw would be visible here and there behind the others. We create that by lightly shading the teeth on the other side while emphasizing the lines of the teeth in front of them. We're not gonna exaggerate that just yet because first we continue our drawing, but later on we can go back to it if we want to make this effect more prominent. You may have noticed that I'm not drawing any fangs here, and that is because I wanted to have it more similar to the row of teeth that a velociraptor has. But of course you can add in some larger fangs if you like. I add in a light guideline in the neck so that I have a direction to follow when drawing in the scales. For this dragon I want the scales to have a bit more of a wrinkly look, and I'm actually going more for an elephant skin than clearly outlined scales. Working on this part may feel a bit tedious, but keep in mind that this is just a sketch and the scales don't have to exactly match and be perfect. Just draw the lines freely and don't worry too much about this part. While working on one part, I often revisit other parts of my drawing to darken some lines here and there and make adjustments to make the sketch more balanced. I also start a bit of shading in the areas that are in the shadows, like the part of the neck and the throat that is beneath the jawline. Now let's add some details to the eye. I'm going for a small round eye without a pupil. I often draw the eyes that way because I like the mystery a pupilless eye creates, like you're staring into the void of a creature that has existed since before time. I draw some wrinkles below the eye because that skin tissue will need more flexibility for the muscles around the eye. It also adds to the effect that the eye lies a bit inwards in the skull. And then it's time to draw the scales of the head. I work more detailed here than I did in the neck because this part of our drawing is more important and that is where we want to draw the attention to. If this all goes a bit fast or you want to know more about this drawing, there is a real-time tutorial up on my Patreon, which I will link to in the description of this video. I add some shading to the mouth and tongue, and I do that by lightly putting down small light ovals on the paper. Once I've done that, I make some of the teeth that are closest to us more prominent by going over the lines again. For the horns I take inspiration from cows, so I'm gonna lightly shade them in the direction of the horn. I darken the tips because that will draw some attention to them and it will make the horn stand out more. Next I'm gonna darken the lines of the wrinkles in the neck and then I'm gonna shade them. I only shade the top half and leave the bottom half of each section lighter to create some depth. We do that with every single one and we keep emphasizing the line work, otherwise we might lose that in the shading. Again, this can feel a bit tedious, but it is okay to skip this part entirely if you just wanted to practice or want to color your drawing later on. I'm gonna draw it because I like the sketches in this specific sketchbook to be a little bit more detailed, but that is just a design choice. I add in a bit more scales on the side of the neck to make the transition to the chest more smooth. The chest area will have some plates, but I try to keep the flexible look intact because it's an area that needs to be able to move and expand. With shading I can bring the soft throat area into the chest and it will also create even more depth throughout drawing. While working on this section, you can already tell that our sketch is losing some of its balance. That is because we rendered one part, but we still need to do that with the head, so we'll go back to that next. Again, we darken our line work to make sure we don't lose the details when we're shading. If there are any details you're not happy about and rather get rid of, you can simply do that by leaving them untouched in this phase. They will become barely visible once you're done shading and just leave the look of a slight texture. We shade the area around the eye darker to show even more that it goes inwards, like our eyes, which is in an eye socket too. And where we lose details that we want to keep, we just darken the lines, and this way we keep shading and balancing till we're pleased with how it looks. To give the neck a more round look, we're gonna shade the edge a bit darker, which will give the effect of the shape bending away from us, making it round. This will make a drawing look less flat. Our drawing is almost finished, but I have one cool hack left for you. But first we're gonna do some final touches by balancing and shading. And now it's time for that final trick. To make our drawing really stand out, we're gonna darken and thicken the entire outline of our drawing. It will make your sketch look more crisp and it will hide our messy lines that we made in the start. I'm adding a little bit more shading and then our dragon portrait is done. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and if you're looking to learn more about dragon creatures, I also have a fun tutorial on how to draw a wyvern, so maybe that's a good one to try next. Thank you for watching and I'll see you with the next one.